Also, with running a PR agency in Nigeria, it's really not as easy as people make it seem. A lot of brands don't sort of respect agencies like that. And actually, if you're a small one coming up, so half of the time, just so you make ends meet, you end up undercharging just so you can get clients, build relationships. And the economy does not warrant that at this time. Like, there's no money. Cost of living is going up day by day. I'm also such a high achiever with the things that I wanted to achieve, I want to achieve in life. So half of the time you just end up working and then there's really nothing to show for it. You end up in debt. I was someone like me that has also tried multiple things. At the end of the day, like I take responsibility for certain decisions that I've made, but it's also that I can't necessarily say I'm living the above my means because I don't even do things out of what I can afford. And that seems to also be a problem. When you have high expectations of life, but you're making decisions based off of your current status and management, right? You end up charging based off of your current situation. You end up, I just used the a oil controlling moisturizing cream. You end up charging based off of your situation at the moment. You don't necessarily, you know, I have that I had that problem. I'm not taking it as my identity anymore. Just so if you're a new entrepreneur, just you have to charge based off of where you want to go to from the beginning, not necessarily where you are at. I think that can be a bit dicey, right? But you should know that you're branding your watch because if you keep charging based off of where you are at, I put my mirror. Keep charging based off where you are at, you most likely won't get to where you're going to because people will constantly keep undercharging you. You are already going to be like the go-to person for undervalued or cheaper gigs elsewhere, and that's not the reputation that can make you millions and make you wealthy. Somebody reached where I knew there was a problem, right? Someone reached out to me that I've worked for years, like 8 years ago, 8, 9 years ago. I used to be a stylist, yeah. And then he wanted to do something, and then it was like, oh, somebody gave him my number gave him my number, right? I was like, oh, when he said he was looking for somebody to do this and this, he was like, oh, call Kaka. I think she's the best person that you can reach out to. And then he made me such a silly offer. Like that that offer was like, I went off and I was like, you have this offer in mind and you really think I am the person to call. What made you think this is what I would charge for a month worth of work? Why do I have this reputation of being the cheaper person? How insane is that? Like, that's a bit crazy. And, at first, it didn't bother me, but I kept on thinking about it. Bothered me, but the more I thought about it, with the level of exhaustion that I was feeling from last week, and then I checked my bank account, I was like, nah, definitely this has to change. Like, this is not funny anymore. It's really, really not. So, right now, and usually when things get like this, I get overwhelmed and then I just take a break, I stop and I hide. I'm going to go off social media for a while. Not because of anything, but I have people that I'm currently in debt of. It's just a business loan. It's not something out of the ordinary. But it's also that I can sit back and calculate these things properly and also give extra focus to the business as based off of the fact that I've seen where the loopholes are, right? So I used to blow some veil foundation, but for some reason I feel it's now too dark for me. When I got the second one, or maybe the formula change or something. Something is just off with this. I need my fan. One sec. Something is a bit off with this, and I don't have. I also I had I need to turn my fan because I don't have lights on my AC. It's not working. Well, I have lights, it's just I can't use my AC. So as I was saying, so you end up being the go-to person for like cheaper gigs. There's some level of lack of respect, lack of not just respect, but also lack of people understanding your crafts and just think that they can get you for cheaper. It's actually crazy. It was so annoying to me. And then I had a conversation with my friends and we sort of understood. We had the conversation about it and we're like, nah, yeah, we're really, yeah, I think it's just way darker than I am now, operating from a place of scarcity, which is also why. So I've turned down a couple of gigs. This yeah, even though like I need money, but it's also now that I'm calculating the amount of time that I'm using to do something, the resources that it would take. Does it make any sense? Not because I'm charging a million naira and then I realize at the end of the day I'm using like 800K to execute what we have said, paying my other staffs. At the end of the day, there's really nothing to take home for me. So there's just revenue, there's no profits, there's no income, there is nothing that I can reserve for the business. I can reserve. So that's why I'm honestly always in that constant cycle. And the moment I clocked this, I was like, nah, first of all, I'm not taking any more thing. It would help me financially, but in the short run, but like in the long run, it would make complete sense. So have you seen how dark it is now? It would make sense. Let me try to add a bit of concealer. I think I'll do this when I'm adding my concealer. So yeah, so that's really what it is. It's gotten me really sad, but it's not like I have a choice. I pay my bills, so life must go on and things like that. But it's really annoying when you put your years into something in your craft, try to be better. It also stifles your growth and how you also execute because you don't have the resources to execute at a certain level. You know, so that way it's a vicious cycle that ends up keeping you so small because now you can't necessarily afford luxuries, not even luxuries, but like premium stuff, premium experiences. I'm 32. I have never traveled out of Nigeria, not because I don't have the money at some point, but I have bills, I have stuff to do. By the time I think of my responsibilities, I'm like, no, maybe the next one I should be. But when I've charged lower, I can't necessarily save. How am I sweating? This is how you know I'm serious. This conversation. I can't necessarily save towards it. Security guy just asked. I can't necessarily save towards it because something else also. If you live in Nigeria, you know that something must always come or something must always happen. And then because you work with so much numbers, you know how much brands are paying influencers, you know what it is, you know what brands can. And then I know when it now comes to you, when you're trying to charge your money, they'll be like, oh, we don't have money, bro. Like, please get that out of me. I've fallen out with a couple of people too that I said no to. You know what? I'm just like, fine. If if me saying no and charging my worth or telling you that, oh, a lot of these things that I used to do for free for you, I'm so sorry I can't do them anymore, and you're angry, then that's completely fine. We're probably never meant to be in my corner in the first place. I remember someone that we're working towards together, and then I asked for equity basically in the business, and like, oh, because of our other partners, you can't give me equity, blah blah blah, stuff like that, and then when goes on me. Or she even made a statement that actually pissed me off. She was like, "Oh, she had oh, pissed me off that she had a an auntie that is also in the PR business, and then she will see what she can do." Okay, you have an auntie that is in the PR business, and you see what you can do, and you see what she can do for you. But then but here you've been talking about the same thing for about 6 months, and then January rolls around. You tell me that January rolls around, you tell me that, oh, maybe let's catch up so that I can see how I can help your life. And I'm like, okay, quite all right. If it's us sitting down catching up and talking, but I won't be doing any consultation or giving you any business thing except you pay a consultation fee. And then she goes off that, oh, she didn't know it's not like that. This thing is not straight, bothering me. That she didn't know it's not like that. So, oh my god, this thing 10 minutes long. That she didn't know it's not like that. She didn't know it's not like that. Blah blah blah. That, oh, she has helped me in the past. This. I was like, well, if you say I've helped you in the past, but I've also brought you gigs that also give you money. I've given you an hosting gig, and then you work in an industry that we sort of need each other. So whatever you did was an exchange for something, right? So agree, but you also agreed that I've also helped you. But then moving forward, the only reason I didn't even charge, I gave you a discount on the consultation fee again because we have history and we have some form of relationship that I thought was, you know, that I thought was, but then this guy that I thought was, and then you you waste my time. You say things that I don't think you knew the consequences of things you're saying. But at the end of the day, like, it's no bad blood. It was just like boundaries right now because I'm not saying anything. I'm not having any consultation with anybody. I'm not speaking to anybody. And then I started my fashion brand, and I was like, okay, with my fashion brand I can control certain things, but I also realized that the mentality of which, oh, I want to make things affordable, it's like it's now a problem because now I want to do quality, which I would always do, but then the fact that I want things to be affordable is now costing me more. And I'm like, you know what, I just took like a 2 week break, like in terms of my next set of production. And I'm like, nope, I'm not doing this again. I know what this looks like and sounds like. So when I looked at my numbers in the first 2 months, I was like, nah, this level of artistry and talent that I'm bringing into this brand and the concept of affordability, But yeah, there are people who will pay a premium for other brands that have sort of similar things that I do. And I'm just shooting myself in the foot with the word trying to be affordable. So yeah, I'm just reviewing my prices for House of OT and stuff like that. And because again, like I said, I have some bills and some money that I have to pay, from investment that was made. So it needs to happen. Yeah, I think talking about it has actually taken it out of my mind because when you're dealing with stuff alone and it's just in your head, you get really just overwhelmed. But you know what? I think I'll just pick this vlog back up when I'm done with my face and almost ready.